Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Ukraine crisis. Tensions mount in Kramatorsk after army rolls in a week before Donetsk. Region votes on secession. Rebels are rebuilding barricades despite Kiev's attempt to retake control. Job seekers being forced into 0-hour rolls. Letter from Conservative minister reveals plans to sanction unemployed people if they fail to agree to controversial contracts. Vatican tries to draw a line under clerical sex abuse scandals at UN hearing. Torture Committee dismisses Holy See's argument that its obligation to enforce UN treaty stops at boundaries of the city-state. And about the sports, we are going to talk about NBA League and the racism in Spanish football. Latest news on the situation in Ukraine. A week before the region is due to have a referendum on seceding from Ukraine, the Ukrainian army is attempting to regain control of key buildings and roads, possibly to stop the referendum from taking place. The separatists say at least 10 people were killed and in clashes as the army moved in, although the number cannot be verified, and after more than 40 people died in a fire in Odessa on Friday night. The tension in eastern Ukraine is palpable. Across the region, roadblocks formerly manned by separatists are now smoldering remains of tires and firewood after the Ukrainian army rolled through. The interim Ukrainian government in Kiev has referred to the separatists as terrorists and its movement in the east of the country as an anti-terrorist operation. Also in Ukraine, 4 Ukrainian soldiers died and dozens of pro-Russian fighters and civilians were killed and injured yesterday, when government troops stepped up attacks against rebels in eastern town of Sloviansk. Kiev lost its third helicopter's gunship in 4 days. It was shot down as the government tried to cut off what it said were about 800 equipped with large caliber weapons and mortars. Nearly continuous gunfire and explosions were reported for several hours in the morning.
British policy seeks over labour market conditions. The job seekers are being forced into 0-hour roles. A letter from Conservative minister reveals plans to sanction unemployed people if they fail to agree the controversial contracts. The letter reveals that job seekers face losing their benefits for 3 months or more if they refuse to take 0-hour contract roles. This change in policy was revealed in a letter from Esther McVey, an employment minister, to Labour member of Parliament Sheila Gilmore, who had raised the issue of sanctions with her. For the first time, benefit claimants are at risk of sanctions if they do not apply for and accept certain 0-hour jobs, despite fears that such contracts are increasingly tying workers into insecure and low-paid employment. Last week, the Office for National Statistics revealed the number of contracts that do not guarantee minimum hours of work or pay, but they require workers to be on standby had reached 1.4 million. More than 1 in 10 employers are using such contracts, which are more likely to be offered to women, young people, and people over 65. The figure rises to almost half of all employers in the tourism, catering, and food sector.
And in London, a planned 3-day strike by London Underground workers in a row over ticket office closures has been called off after last-ditch talks. Members of the Rail, Marine and Transport Union had been due to walk out from 9 p.m, but a breakthrough was made at a meeting on Monday with management. The union said the industrial action had been suspended. Its acting General Secretary, Mick Cash, said that due to the solidity and determination of their LU members and their delivery of rock-solid industrial action last week, they have been able to secure real movement and significant progress on the issues. Phil Houghton, the chief operating officer of London Underground, said that they are pleased that Londoners will not have to endure further strike action this week.
In economy, UK home construction industry upbeat amid property boom. The house building in UK is enjoying its longest run of growth since before the financial crisis, in a further sign of Britain's booming property market. Housing construction grew for a 15th month in April, the longest period of continuous growth since 2006-2007, according to the Market Construction PMA. Activity in the broader construction sector, which also includes commercial property and civil engineering, grew for the for the 12th month in a row. Although this month grows at the slowest pace in 6 months according to the PMI, the figures suggest growth in the sector remains robust. The sector accounts for about 6% of the British economy. The figures coming below economists' forecasts of 62, but Rob Wood, chief UK economist at Berenberg, said survey showed the construction sector was still red hot.
And the Vatican tries to hide clerical sex abuse scandals. The UN demanded the Pope's representative give answer to a long list of questions about the treatment of sex abuse claims against clergy throughout the world. Gair, the director of an American Jewish human rights organization, described the line that church officials sought to draw between the treaty obligations of the city-state and the Holy Sees as an alleged distinction. She demanded responses to claims that Italian bishops had been told they were not under any obligation to report suspected cases of sex abuse to the civil authorities, as well as to allegations that the Vatican had given refuge to a papal envoy accused of sex abuse. In January, a Polish prosecutor said Warsaw had turned down a request for the extradition of Archbishop Joseph Wesolowski, who faces accusation of sex abuse in his Poland and in the Dominican Republic. In February, the Vatican reacted with outrage when another UN panel argued that children around the world were suffering from Catholic teachings, including those on abortion and birth control. The Vatican said comments by the Committee on the Rights of the Child constitute an attack on religious freedom. Now we talk about main sport news. It was a weekend with excellent basketball on the NBA League and the NBA World righted itself, while at a certain point it seemed as if every series was going an upset balance has been restored for the most part.
Thunder, Spurs and Pacers find route to NBA playoff next round. The NBA playoff second round will give us these matches: Wizards vs Pacers, Nets vs Heat, Blazers vs Spurs and Clippers vs Thunder. On last round, the favorite advanced by surviving huge scares in series that ended up going much longer than expected. Even when predictions nailed 7 out of the 8 series winners beforehand, it felt like they shouldn't have counted because they failed to imagine the path the winning teams will take to get there. 5 series went the full 7 games. Another series, Portland-Houston, was a Damian Lillard miracle basketball away from making it 7. They were countless overtime games, 9 games decided by 2 points or less, and 30 of the first 35 games were essentially undecided in the last minute of play. The second round has a nearly impossible test to live up to, but it will be very fun to see the conference semi-finals try.
And for the last, in Spanish football, UEFA urges Spanish authorities to crack down on racist incidents. The governing body condemns abuse of Levante's Pep Diop and vows to find and punish perpetrators from Atletico Madrid.
UEFA has condemned the racist abuse of Levante's midfielder Pape Diop on Sundays and called for authorities in Spain to take appropriate action. 7 days after Barcelona's Brazilian defender Dani Alves ate a banana thrown at him while he was taking a corner, Senegalese midfielder Diop was subjected to monkey taunts at the end of Levante's crucial 2-0 victory over Atletico Madrid. He responded by dancing before being dragged away by teammates and called for more protection for players. The Spanish League issued a statement which vowed to hunt down those responsible and warned that it intends to introduce special training to avoid any more instances of racism at games. Thank you very much. We will come back next week.